Uh, one, two, three, four. But now I am in a group.
Okay. Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
So one of the things that I heard before we just start the questions um, was that not actually everybody's really started. Yeah, not everyone has picked a priority. So I pulled up what the 5 objectives were. I'm just going to quickly go through those so we can talk about. You may not have picked a priority, but I think you're all doing some of these things anyways. So just to kind of orient the conversation. So the 5 objectives, well, the one is to expand and enhance respite services. The second one is improve coordination and dissemination of services. Streamline access is number 3. Fill service gaps is number 4. And number 5 is improve the overall quality. Okay. Does everybody kind of have that in their mind?
Yeah.
Okay, so then the first question we have is to share an example in which you used persuasion to move forward. And so as I was listening to this lecture, I was taking careful notes because I've learned so much from Cheryl. I thought in order to answer that, we kind of need to know what, if you already have a priority or priorities, or can you just pull one out of that list of 5? Who needs persuading, or who needed persuading if you've already done some of this? What's your best argument? What are you asking from people? Because why persuade them if you're not getting anything that's going to support change, right? Okay, so anybody want to kind of just jump in with me, and I'll sort of prompt you through all of those. Like, is there somebody who has a priority already that they feel pretty strong, or priorities they feel strongly about? Tell us what that priority is. Don't be shy. I already know
Well,
you're smart. I do your state summaries. There's nobody here that needs to feel embarrassed about anything.
that's okay. I'll say, I mean, it's
Hi,
sort of like
then.
all of those. I've got a conference coming up that I'm going to be presenting at, where I'm trying to persuade pretty much our whole aging, disability, and independent living network to help with the national strategy. Um, in general, not just on respite, but kind of
Mm-hmm.
like on everything supporting family caregivers. So, when I'm, and I guess this is kind of interesting, this discussion today is because when I'm thinking about all the different groups, you work with people who are dealing with all these different groups. And so you're trying to make a pitch to everybody at once, right? And you have to sort of be specific about how they can support these initiatives. Um, but at the same time, they're each going to do it a little differently. So I haven't started putting this together yet, but just this idea of making it that all of the goals are really in some way tie into the people that we're serving in different places throughout the network. And so, I mean, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I'm just telling you where I'm
Eh,
coming from. It's for me, it's not just like one
right,
specific thing. I feel like I'm working on something much bigger.
right.
Um, as in, but
Yeah.
then where there are these separate groups where I'm working on a specific goal. But
I think
that's
you're saying something really important because it's complicated enough when you kind of break it down. Okay, which priority or priorities? Who do you need to convince? What are your best arguments when you ask? And in reality, it's not one audience that you're going after, right? And you like different levels of knowledge, different ways of investment. Maybe they serve completely different populations and they aren't really interested in this population. So yeah, I think it's a really interesting
where
engagement.
they are dealing with it, but it's not their primary population, but they're dealing
Right,
with somebody and they all have caregivers. They all have a need for respite, or
right.
the person has a need for respite, but maybe they hadn't thought about it in those terms.
Yeah,
So it's kind of to get them to recognize that.
yeah.
Um,
So Lynn, where are you from? I'm just taking notes too.
yeah, I'm with the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Oh, good old Wisconsin. Okay.
Good old Wisconsin.
That's great. Anybody else have that issue, or is it cleaner for you?
I'm I'm from Washington State, and I would really agree with you, Lynn, in that we have our Lifespan Respite Coalition, and we've been talking about the strategies and how we would incorporate pretty much all of the items from the strategies into some portion of what we're working on. And it's I don't feel like we have to persuade anyone. It's more like helping people identify where they fit in the big picture, right? So it's not like, I don't feel like we have to persuade anyone, talk anyone into anything. It's like, just where do they fit in that diagram, right?
Right. Because they're already committed, sounds
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're already doing work, providing respite or,
Yeah.
resources and support. So
So it's almost like when you go through the model that Cheryl presented, all the 5 strategies are priorities. People are already committed, so you don't necessarily even need to come up with argument. You need to figure out what your ask is.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Or what their give is. It's like, I
Yeah.
don't feel like I even have to ask people. It's like, what do you want to contribute to this larger framework?
Well, maybe that's a nice way to put it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that.
Is that, I love it too. Is it too amorphous? Like I'm suspecting, just from working on statewide things, that some people are just gonna more be able to just jump in and identify and do it, and other people are gonna maybe need a lot of support through that, figuring out.
Somewhat, yeah, yeah. Sometimes you have to kind of help
Shepherd.
give some opportunities or some ideas, but I think really it kind of evolves on it organically,
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else with priorities?
me.
I'm having trouble even coming up with a priority.
Yeah, I have Dr.
Hi,
Nelly
Nelly.
here. I have to piggyback with Rosalind and Lynn. It is not so much events where I have to persuade my audience. It's more what I've come across is I've oftentimes have to prepare, understand who my audience are, and also keep in mind that caregiving and caregiving issues have so many tenants. It really, I have to sort of segmentize when I'm speaking and sharing information. I have to oftentimes, it's a delicate dance between what the audience know and what information I'm sharing, coupled with the services that we offer, coupled with yeah, asking for help at the same time. It's, there's tenets of the caregiving issues that we Arizona Caregiver Coalition do not have not explored as of yet,
Mm-hmm.
but would love to. However, we come across audience that really feel that that's an issue. For example, one of the highest one is caregiving wages and employment issues as a caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
We tackle all the priorities. However, that topic, as much as I am passionate about it and really want to tackle that on, can't do so right now. Yeah, so, but if I ever come across an audience that's just as passionate and it's looking for a group to support them in that, that's where I know that I have to find resources and lean on partnerships for that help. But I've never come across where I have to sort of quote unquote hard press persuade or hard press. I hate the word argue, but hard press persuade. It's never been that way. It's always been, how best can I support you where you're at right now?
Okay, so what I'm kind of filling in as I'm hearing you talk, because this is complicated, but I think also really important. So
It is
you
complicated. It's
adjust the
not one
message.
right
You're
answer.
adjusting the message, and you talked about wages and employment, and right away I went to the 5. I've got them pulled up on my screen, the 5 priorities, and I just thought wages and employment. Well, that directly maps on to priority 3, which was access, and priority 5, which is service gaps, right? Because you don't have a
That's right.
adequately trained or available workforce. And so then the third thing you talked about, Nellie, was like finding resources to support. So you kind of like you tug on one thread and you realize it's attached to
Yeah.
other pieces. So you're not making, none of you have said you're making this simple argument to
Okay.
one person. It's much more interconnected, which is
Yeah.
makes sense, right? Because we're a service system. We're not a single program. It's hard enough in a program. Okay, I'm getting
Right.
smarter here from you all.
Or if you have an audience, you might be looking to fill a specific service gap, depending on who you're talking to. That's where you might be able to get more specific.
Uh-huh,
It just kind of depends on who you're speaking to.
right. So I'm just writing that down because that could be a single argument or a clearer argument versus sort of systems wide.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Um, Jenny or Alexis, do you feel like hopping in? No, you don't have to, but we'd love to hear from you if you.
I can go next.
Hi,
So
Alexis.
I'm from North Dakota. I probably have a little bit different perspective. I'm actually new in my role. I'm going on month 4 now. The overall outcome that I will be focusing on for my state is the first one about enhancing respite overall. Our greatest challenge being a local or being a kind of frontier rural state is that it is very underutilized, that we're not using all of our funding. So, and how to best problem solve to reach more people, to market more. So where I know I'm going to have to up my persuasion skills is with our respite coalition. I've actually only attended 1 meeting since I've been in this role. I have my next one in the next few weeks here, but I really need to kind of just light a fire and try to get engagement out of everyone on the committee and kind of reinvent the committee, get more involvement. Historically, as a state agent, we've kind of been the forefront of that and tried to basically done a lot of the work and made a lot of the initiatives. So I need to be persuasive to not only get new members, but to get more engagement out of our current members to really best work together and extend it beyond just the state. So that's my goals.
Okay, this is great. Um, okay, like you said, light a fire. That was really good. So they don't know you very well because you've only been to 1 meeting. So just at
Correct.
the beginning of that lecture, so you're not at the pinnacle because to some people you're a kind of an unknown. But
Correct.
they don't have to really follow you because they have to.
Yes,
So
I am I technically am in charge of setting the agenda and everything for the meetings too. So I'm, kind of coming in leading something that I'm trying to learn myself. So a little bit extra challenge, but I'm really going to rally from my past experiences in leadership roles and just really to gain their trust and show that I've kind of dived fully in and have I did attend the state summit, which was amazing. I'm also really looking forward to Albany. So I feel that there is just such great support, such as these calls. So really going to just leverage that and bring a lot of best practices from other states and bring it back to my coalition.
yeah. So today, as you were listening, did you start to like think about arguments that you might use or ways you might persuade? And tell us, do you have the floor at the meeting? Like, how much time do you even have to kind of present?
Yeah, we
persuasive
have,
argument?
I'm still kind of finalizing the agenda for the next couple weeks here, but we have, it's an hour and a half, so time isn't really an issue. So actually what I am going to present as evidence, I probably will pull from a couple different states from some things that I had learned, from New York especially. I'm planning to, they had talked about, there was different surveys to help identify like who is caregivers. So that's one thing I want to leverage. And then, I think actually it was New York as well. They had done some volunteer mini grant writing. So that was very paramount as I'm starting my, I'm almost done in that process. So hoping to get that out in the next couple of weeks for some mini grants. So we'll be talking about that and trying to, I need them for that because I can't, in order for others to apply for the grant, it's not something that I can just send out. We really need to leverage all the resources that we have so they can really help to better spread the word so we get the most applications and can have the most success with implementing additional respite care in my state.
That sounds like a really smart strategy. So look at New York too, like how, because they're doing an evaluation piece with that. So they're showing like the benefits of it, right? What are the good outcomes? If you could talk to them about what they're asking in terms of evaluation, then you'll get data from your mini grants that can help you persuade. You can go back and say, hey, look at all the good that was done in these communities. And hopefully other people will try and replicate, you know, kind of spread the wealth. So that sounds like a really smart strategy. And you know what else I like about it? You're going to naturally have partners without forcing people, you know, like be my friend and do something. It's like on that model again, you're that production results. You're going to, and what have you done? That sort of legacy of people development, that sounds to me like that's kind of what's going to happen based on that mini grant strategy. So I think that's pretty darn smart. Okay, says we have 2 minutes and I've kind of cheated Jenny. If you want to, do you have anything to offer, Jenny, or you just want to be a listener today?
So I'm mostly just going to kind of echo what's been said. Like, I don't really feel like I'm doing a lot of persuasive speaking right now. A lot of what I'm doing national strategy wise is more educating. People have like a vague idea that there is a national strategy, but in almost any meeting that I get a chance to or have time to, I'll go through just a little bit about the national strategy and those 5 main goals. But also, yeah, I don't remember who said it, but in my head, trying to help people see where they are in the puzzle that is respite and caregiver support. So, and I feel like, especially anyone in human services, hopefully anyone in like state or federal government, our goal is to help people. So telling people that we need to help people, and this is a better way, this is a more efficient way, like people are usually, or in my experience, people are happy to have the help, especially if it's something that they're not super knowledgeable or super comfortable with. So knowing that there are resources, there's guidance out there, really just more offering that support than having to persuade them that they need to do something is kind of where we're at.
Yeah. Jenny, where are you from?
Oh, South Carolina.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so one thing that you said that really stuck out to me is like that people are about helping, and this is like a way to help. That's actually that's an argument, and that's a good argument. That's an argument. So kind of seeing where they already supporting what they already know and believe, and building on that. Okay. Oops, here we go. Thanks, everyone.